What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Save Point Podcast, episode 17. I am one of your hosts, Alex, and I am joined by my good friend Sway. And boy, do we have an episode for you. Sway's got the floor here. I'm going to let him go. We're going to be talking about his project that we're going to go over the details of, talk about how you can support it, talk about modern day journalism. A lot to get to. We'll try to condense it to make it digestible for the audience. So Sway, just take it away. What is this? How did this come about? What are you going to be doing? Just go through the whole thing here.
This is my project announcement, which is going to be a publication that is centered around gaming and everything as I consider nerd culture, right? So this came about as it's not a last minute thing. It's not anything that is
Yeah.
just brought
We
together.
didn't come up with this like when we started this show or anything. This was a long time
Yeah.
ago. Yeah.
To give you a little bit of backstory, um, this is essentially comparable to my life's work, right? Um, the day I started this was September 4th, 2013 is when I started planning this. So September 4th, 2023 would actually mark 10 years. In 2021, I made a company. It is under an LLC, loss liability company. And that is where, ever since then, I've been trying to get the project off the ground and running. I have a team, I have a staff. Right now, we're hovering around maybe about 20-ish people that are ready to go. And to get this off the ground and running, going to the banks, um, talking to different lenders, having appointments, trying to get a business loan due to the current state of the world and the amount of PPP fraud that there was. A lot of banks told us that with the PPP fraud, most banks, like I want to say, it was something crazy, like 80% of the loans from PPP were not paid back, nor did they meet the requirements to not have to pay them back. So banks took a large hit there, and then the economy is where it is now, so
Yeah.
that needs no explanation.
Yeah.
And so that led us here. I've always been in the mindset that the reason why it took me so long to even approach crowdfunding was simply because, as I told Alex, I wanted to have something to show you. I wanted to have something to present you with. Anyone can get up and start just making stuff, but you never get a first chance at you never get a second chance at a first impression. And so for me, if I'm going to do this, I want to do this right. I want to put the right care and quality and everything into it. So what are we? As I explained before, gaming publication. We will also cover everything is, like I said, I consider nerd culture. So movies, shows, around comic books, be scary movies, anime, things of
You got
that
to appeal to
nature.
the
Like,
Scream fandom.
yep. And so we have morals. We have things that we want to stand down. We are not striving to take over, take anyone's jobs or anything like that. We are here to provide an alternative. As much as we could probably complain for hours and hours and hours about how others run their ship, um, there might be some people who love the way that others run their ship.
Yeah.
But we want to give people who have been asking for the right alternative that option. And that is what I am here for. And the only difference between now and 2013 when I planned it, hell, even 2021 when I officially made the LLC, was that I feel like at that time my project wasn't needed. It was a passion project of mine that I had wanted to do in the career path that I wanted to have for myself. Now I feel like it is a perfect time because it is needed in the space. You do have people who want certain things out of it, and we're here to give it to you. I have been on multiple forums anonymously asking people if a new publication came out, what would you want from it? I've had people tell me that they feel like publications don't write articles specifically for their fans. One thing that we will look to do and we will actually bring to you is original, hardworking, and creative articles that covering games, movies, shows, whatever we cover, even things that take place in the gaming industry. Um, It will not just be something as simple as citing and copying and pasting from a different website and citing the source,
Yeah.
uh, and basically saying like, "Hey, this other person reported this," but no, we're going to put more work into that.
Yeah.
Um, a big important thing for me is this is going to open up jobs. It's going to open up more jobs in the job market. And so, in doing that, we will have editorial. We will have editors that will edit videos and things of that nature. We'll have people correcting our grammar. Lord knows I need it. So there's multiple facets to the project, but I think that it's more important to tell you what makes me different uh, than the other
Yeah.
competitors out there that are currently in the space right now. And what makes us different is listening to you, honestly. Um, when it comes to our fans, we don't talk down to them. We talk eye to eye with them. And we want to make sure that you guys have all the transparency in the world. So, what is the best way that we can do that? Um, for me, a big one is being very transparent with our review criteria. Reviewing is subjective, and everybody will take it a different way. And I still stand by, even though we will have our own review system, the way I look at it is this is the review, and our job is to give you as much information as you can get so you can make an educated decision for yourself. And that is where it is very important to me. And I'm very proud of the review system that I've come up with. And that will be available for everybody on the website when that is up. Um, a website is a very important facet of our plans here. But before I get into that, because that's going to be a whole undertaking in itself, I want to talk to you about our morals, what we stand for, right? And know that when we cover a game, a movie, a show, everything will succeed and fail on its own merit, with no influence from what happened with the IP, who made the IP. All that matters is what's being covered, the game, the show, the movie. Um, we think that it's very important that everyone is welcome, no matter which side you lean on, no matter what council you love in the council war, no matter what you identify as. Everyone is welcome here, and there is no discrepancy across the board. We're as transparent, as welcoming. We want everybody to be here, but we also want it to be a state where people come to where they can have one location, a one stop shop for everyone to have a community to talk about what they love, which is gaming and everything nerd culture. Because I feel like pop culture is just a little
Yeah.
from everybody. That being said, it is very important to us that your voices are being heard and well represented, and that's what we're here to do. And believe me, I do see it all the time. There are times when people watch other products that they feel like they're constantly being preached to, or they feel like the topic is constantly on other things other than gaming, and we want to make sure that everything is on gaming. We want to make sure that everything is on the medium that we're talking about here. And we also want to come up with innovative and fun ways, because to be honest, a lot of the things that I plan to implement with this project are not things that I would consider big promises. They're small things that should have happened, and because there are a lot of those small things that hasn't happened, it seems like it's big, but it's
Yeah.
not, I promise. um and I feel like other companies, the way that they've done things, there's a term that I like to use, that I want to use specifically for when I'm talking to you, which is evolution. um you might hear the term modernization, and because of what that word has become, I don't want to use it. um because the evolution of what a publication should be in 2023 isn't there. It doesn't exist yet. The things that I think other companies changed are things that, in the grand scheme of things, are not pivotal to the experience of the viewer. And that is my most important concern, is viewer quality. And so for us, we want to make sure you have a place that you come to, you have fun, you can discuss, you can recommend friends. Um, you can use articles if you're a content creator. Content creators are a big, huge part of this. Um, I'm trying not to look at my notes here as much as possible here, but content creators are the now and the future. And one thing that I notice publications do more than anything is they try to either talk down to them or run away from them, right?
Yeah.
They don't want to work with them. They don't want to. There's no reason for that. Um, Content creators at this point are equals to publications in my eyes, and that's how we will treat them. We will have things where we have content creators come in and give their expertise in specific games, shows, movies that they cover on their own right. Because let's face it, even though we will, over time as the company grows, gather more employees, there's always going to be a content creator out there that knows any more about a product than your staff.
Yeah.
And that's okay. We're willing to work with them. We're willing to do multiple other things for them, and they're a big part of our future. And we don't want to run from them. We don't want to ignore them. We don't want to talk down to them. We want to talk to them and with them. And they are a part of this future just as much as anything else. Um, and that was important to me to become different. Over the years, people have asked me, why haven't I made a YouTube channel? Why haven't I streamed? And it's not because I don't want to be a content creator. I want to be something different that aids content creators, because a publication is important because you have casuals, and there are a lot more casual gaming fan or nerd culture fans than you realize. When we're on the internet,
Yeah.
everybody knows everything, right? But the important part about that is that the way publications, in my opinion, have been going, they're not spreading all the information about products that there is out there. It's not nearly as descriptive as it could be. Quite frankly, I think in some aspects that it's lazy. And I don't necessarily want to put all of that on the employees that work there. But I think from a company structure, there is a lot of things wrong with a lot of companies. And so I want to implement changes. Some of them I can talk about with you guys. Some of them I'm keeping a little close to the vest. Not because I'm scared of you guys taking it, but I don't want them to take it.
Yeah.
These are simple changes that they could make, and I kid you not, when I do make them, it's going to take integrity. It's going to be different, but you're going to look at it and go, why haven't companies been doing this entire time?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. There's multiple facets about companies' business models that they do that easily can have a simple change that would go a long way that they refuse to make. I don't think publications have evolved at all. I think that they've been quite complacent for a while. And that all changes with us because we're the alternative. So, what do we have to offer? Our website is going to be the most important part of any of this. This is going to be the mecca where you can find all of our content. And yes, we will be on YouTube. We will be on Twitch. We will be on Twitter, Instagram, even TikTok.
Even
We
I'm on
everywhere
TikTok now.
we can get the anywhere we can get the news from out to you. And the website will have multiple things to offer you, but one thing important, um, I know why startup companies or smaller publications do this. Um, it's just not something that I'm interested in. So know that there will be subscriptions, but news, reviews, and things of that nature will never be locked behind a paywall. Anything behind a paywall is original content, as I call it, content creator style content, that will allow us to interact with you, and not just interaction as in like reading your comments. No, we're when we say interacting, we got some. innovative ways to interact with you, things that we can do with you. We will sell merchandise. Um, and I can tell you a little bit about what that subscription model gets you. Obviously, news is free. Let me cover the free model first. So, free, you will have news, you will have reviews, articles, everything that's going to be available to you. You will also have content that we make specifically for free watchers because I have been that person that loved a content creator and for whatever reason, whether if it was financially, they had to do it for them to keep doing what they were doing or not. But when they go to Patreon or something and they move all their content there, and you're like, man, we miss you, And I want to make sure that I always have something of quality to give to people, no matter if they can afford to or even want to subscribe to us. And things of that nature will always be free. What the paid tiers get you, things that they get you, is ad-free access to the website. Um, they will get you discounts that will, as long as you got a membership, you get discounts on our merch. Everything is available to you. We are not playing this tier game where if you get this tier, you get this access to this and that. None of that. It is literally broken down into monthly, quarterly, and yearly. Everyone gets the same stuff. The only difference is what your term is. Um, Another thing that we have going, this is probably going to go in the free tier actually, but this is something that I'm passionate about. For developers out there, we want to appreciate you year round and not when you just have something coming out, right? I look at it as like friends, right? What dictates a friend, right? Friends are people who check on you, people who want to know how you're doing and what you're doing and be a part of your life all the time, not just when they need something. And so I want to do a developer spotlight and showcasing where this would be a show or an interview, I guess, where we talk to developers about their day to day routines about being a game developer. Um, this would also offer insight to fans everywhere to get a better understanding of how the gaming industry and gaming development works. And know that when you come on this show, we won't ask you about games you have coming out and things like that. That is going to be reserved for when you're cut, like when you're doing press for the game itself. Then we will ask you, questions about the games. But when you come on here for this is legitimately your experience as a game developer, what you do, what's the structure at places that you work, or maybe even where you work, how things fundamentally work from the top to the bottom, anything that you can answer. That's what we want to know. And that's open for every developer that's out there. We want to put a spotlight on you. We want to not only show appreciation, but this is a perfect opportunity to gain a better understanding of what you do. And I think that this can only benefit the overall larger gaming community as a whole. One of the things that we're actually doing now, this is going to be by the time you read this video or by the time you watch this video, the link will be in the description.
Yes. Check it out.
Everything will be finalized. Um, Literally, the thing that we're last minute holding us up, and it's like kind of a little bit of a group meeting here, is specifically the crowdfunding website that we want to use because each one of them has different um, requirements. Right now, it's leaning Kickstarter. I think Kickstarter is the more respectable one. It holds us accountable. Um, but we also want to be realistic about what we do. So I am. Last night we did finalize on the decision that what we're going to ask for is 350,000. That is what we're asking for banks right now. That's what we've been going to. That's the new amount. Mainly because of the price of inflation. It went from 100,000 at one point to more. It's grown. The economy just keeps getting what it is. But 350,000 is the goal. The reason why it's a little difficult to choose because, for example, if you go to Kickstarter, there is obviously a timeline that you follow, which is 100% fine. But if you don't get the allotted amount in the time limit by the time the time
It
limit
gets
ends,
refunded, doesn't it?
it's refunded. Exactly. So we're thinking, is it best to go with another one that is a little bit that doesn't do that? Because at the worst case scenario, we could go to the bank and ask for a lesser
So
amount.
so just to be clear to the people,
Mhm.
the goal most likely, I mean, when you watch this video, it's chosen. You will have
Yes, it's
picked.
chosen.
So the links in.
The goal is chosen. It's 350,000.
No.
Yep.
The place,
Oh.
the link,
Oh, the link. Yes, the
like
link will be
because
chosen.
that'll be set in stone. But I want
Hmm.
to make it clear. You make it clear. It seems like from what I'm hearing, the plan is, and I mean you've told me this too behind, like you're trying to get what you can from those that want to give, and then that
Hmm.
only will help you going to the bank
Exactly.
to finish it. So you're not necessarily asking people for $350,000. You're asking
Yes.
for
Yes.
whatever that you want, and then that's part of the goal.
Yes.
Okay, want
That
to
is
make
a
that
better
known
way
to
to
people.
explain it. Yes. um, nerves. So
That's
much
why I'm
information,
here.
so much release.
And so okay, so that happens. So I guess we talked about what happens if it and depending on which site you've chosen for it, it may not
Mhm.
matter if you reach the goal. It would still maybe go to you. Well, here's a
Yep.
I guess I have two questions. Do
Go
they
for it.
get anything? Sometimes these sites have like perks if you help kickstart or go fund something, they get something. So that, and then what's the timeline? Just be as transparent as possible. They're giving money, and then the site comes
Yep.
out in like 3 years. When does it happen, or when are you expecting it?
Um, Honestly, that's going to depend on the extent of the funding or like when we can get it, to be quite honest. I wanted to put the timeline as in like within a year. So say for example, if we get enough funding to go to the bank and, have them work with us for the other half, right? So we get enough to lessen the amount that we're asking for. Um I'd be looking to start it as soon as possible, to be honest. The longest thing that we would wait for, honestly, is the website to be built. But with us being on YouTube and Twitch, we could start pumping out content as quickly as we can get the studio set up. Um, because we're going to have an office space, I already know what the office space that we want. I already know what the building is. I already know how much it costs. Obviously, with going to starting an LLC and going to banks to ask for a business loan, you have to have a business plan. So everything is financially written out. It is a 50+ page business plan.
Yeah,
Worked very
he's
hard
talked to me
on it.
behind the scenes. I mean, he's got it already, Sway.
So everything is budgeted, everything is accounted for. It wouldn't take long for us to get off the ground and running. As far as like perks go, that is one of those things that Kickstarter does. They do require you to have those perks that fans get or like donators get for donating.
Yeah,
And right now the options that we have been going back and forth on is between it's going to be merch for sure. It's going to between a shirt, like a specific special design shirt, or like a lanyard or keychain. It all depends on the budget. We're trying to wait and see what
yeah,
we can kind of go for. But those are two things. I want to do the shirt. Um, One thing about merchandising is that me and two other people have been designing many different shirt designs and things of that nature, just so we can have them to pump out consistently and regularly. Um, but having an exclusive one, we had already thought about doing an exclusive shirt for people who are like first time supporters.
yeah,
So that's why it was kind of a little bit easier for us to move that over to like Kickstarter for a reward for people who donate.
yeah.
Because the idea was already there, but because if we do now we were doing crowdfunding, we can just shift that there.
Gotcha.
Um, and like I said, as timeline goes, it literally depends on how much we get and at the mercy of the banks at that point to see if they want to work with us. Because right now in the economy that we're in, banks are closing down,
Yeah.
things are happening. So the reason why 350 is up there is because if anybody's there and you're like, okay, we don't want to wait, this is something we want, but we don't want to necessarily wait for it. That's how much it is to fund. That's how much it is to get us off the ground and running. And then from there, our staff will be working as volunteers. Everybody has agreed to it, myself included. Um, in order to get everybody on regular salaries, that will take a bigger undertaking. We know the number, but we want to implement the business plan first and give people a product to show, because if the business plan is working, theoretically over time, money will come in,
Yeah.
company will be in the green. We can start hiring people. We can start hiring those volunteers on as in salary employees and list of importance. There is a structure there. Even after, let's say, everything is flowing and going perfectly fine, we have plans for expansions. We have phases, everything like that. So there is plans beyond the plans beyond the plans.
Yeah. You probably have a better future model and plan than I do for my YouTube channels and stuff. Okay. So I think, I mean, that pretty much, and it's just, I mean, and I mean, I trust you. I mean, we've become close friends over the last half year. Um, I want to say it out loud. This is not to go after you. This is to just, because I trust you,
Mhm.
but you see other examples of people. I can think of a couple females that have taken money to say make books, and then they never
Yeah.
make the book. So
Hmm.
I believe it'll happen. I hope the people that watch, and if this thing gets off the ground in terms of crowdfunding, I hope they believe it'll happen. I guess I don't even know what I'm asking. I guess, are you prepared for people to rightfully call you out if it never happens because they gave you? I
When
mean, I think that'd be fully, even as a close friend of
that
yours,
would be
that'd be
justified.
very deserved. I think for people to
That
go
would be
after you.
justified. That
Yeah.
would be 100% justified. And one of the things about me doing the company in the way that I want to do it, and specifically the review system and things like that, is that accountability. It's something that companies run from. And me being in this position, to give you backstory on me, and as the project comes out, like you'll probably hear it in passing because there's people that I have actually worked with at one point in time. When I first became a manager at GameStop, there's a fun fact about me that I get very nervous about handling things that isn't mine, right? Specifically, money is when it's the most aggressive for me, right? And I'm not a person that gets anxiety or anything like that often, but the overwhelming pressure I felt from simply closing down the store the first time, um, it was something that was truly unbearable. And dealing with money that isn't mine, dealing with um even items that isn't mine. If I borrow a game, it's weird to me. I'd
Yeah.
rather own it, right? Um and so even me coming out and saying, I'm doing a project here, my first go to was to try to get the funding from the bank. And I have been since 2021. As I told you behind the scenes, one thing that I wanted to do was to give people a product to show them what we can do before ever even asking. Um, because the economy is the way that it is, this is why I'm taking this route. But your voices are being heard, and this is something that I feel more than confident to go into because I'm a person that, as I said, I want to speak with professionalism, and my word is my bond, and my name, everything out there to me. Um, Companies will see this regardless of if it's a success or not, and that will determine if they want to work with you, whether if I wanted a job in a different industry or anything like
Yeah.
that. So this is putting me out there completely, right? So me treating this ill will would damage any credibility, Not to mention that there are pretty much everybody on my product project I would consider to have 100% integrity, and they would look at me different. And that's something that most people might be okay with looking themselves in the mirror and say I'm a piece of crap. I can't. I can't have my friends look at me like that. I can't have my parents look at me like that, family members, anything like that of that nature. I'm an unproven commodity. Many of you don't know me at all. And to be quite frankly, this is for people to put this in the laps and eyes of people who can share. If you are somebody, because right now the economy that we are in, if you are somebody that is not in a position to donate, please don't donate because I know how hard things are right now. Um, but a simple like, retweet of the announcement,
Yeah.
sharing of this video will put it in eyes of people who are in a better position to do that. And that is the biggest thing that you can do because this is something that I am serious about. There's little small facets. I'll let you in on a couple of things. Faces. Alex has heard me talk about this before, where one of the most simple things that companies in our industry do right now that they undervalue is faces. The rememberable faces that you guys see when you tune into a product every day. The faces that you see that you loved back then are no longer there, most likely because these companies didn't want to pay them, right?
Yeah.
Um, and they're a very big part of what we do, and host will be appreciated as such, and that is something that we will take serious. As far as if I know that some of you are wondering if we have a name, if we have a logo. We do have a name, we do have a logo. That all the stuff was years ago made, designed, decided upon. Like I said, I have a whole LLC, so there is definitely a name. Um, the reason why I have not presented it is because there are things that we still need to get trademarked and copywritten. And so it is for that reason why we have not gone public with that yet. Over time, we will as we get those things straightened out. Um, but there are many, many different facets of not just starting a publication, but this is starting a business. And if done correctly, the greatest accomplishment for me out of all of this was creating new jobs and creating a space that people have been wanting for quite a long time with the professionalism and care that it deserves. And that is what is more than anything most important to me. This isn't just a publication to spike the competition. This is legitimately giving people an alternative and accountability of things that they wanted. One thing that honestly Alex said when we talk about this behind the scenes is and it was something that's simple, but this is another thing that's simple. Just something as simple as holding everybody accountable. When we review games, you will get how long we played the game for, how far was our progression, um, the scoring of it, how everything is legitimately structured down to how we got from to this conclusion. All of that you will be able to see in that review criteria. And that is why I am extremely proud of it because it does hold us accountable. It lets the viewer know how we got there. So that way, if you wanted to score this yourself based on our criteria, you could and see if it matches up with your results as well.
Yeah.
Um, and so
That's pretty
every
important for me.
aspect,
I mean, I've been
so
very vocal with myself hating review scores. I don't like them. I don't do them myself.
mhm.
So I like it. I'm more intrigued, I would maybe say, than like, but I do still like it. I'm very intrigued to like see it. Like the very first review that you guys ever do will be really fun to kind of just see it all broken down. At least, like you said, at least there's a reason why. You can disagree all day. I can
Yep,
disagree with scores being a thing, but at least you know how you got there. Whereas
exactly,
most times you don't.
and that's the important part for me. Honestly, if I'm being 100% honest, um, all scores are, and this is the way that I look at it, all scores are, and all they should ever be, is a beginning point for a person to look at and say, is this something that I want to buy? Right. And that's part of what being a part of being a publication is, to have that content out there, is to have that descriptive, detailed information out there. I should not be pumping out more information in my threads than $1 million publications out there.
Yeah.
I should not see content creators with much less resources pumping out more detailed information than publications out there. And that doesn't require, believe it or not, that much more work than they're putting in. You guys have editors. You guys have a lot more staff. You could get this done a lot more quicker than the time of a lot of these content creators,
They have
and you don't.
access to the things, like the people.
Yes, and
Yeah.
so that is the thing that really drives me nuts about it, and why I wanted to create this alternative, because there is so much wrong right now with the current landscape of how everything is. And I think more than anything, in my honest opinion, publications seem to have this mindset that because they're bringing the news to us and they're transparent about other people's topics that they report on, that leaves them immune to being transparent. And so we want to bring forth a different standard, because say if this project is a success, we get it up and running, everybody loves it. What does that do? It forces other publications to change. That means that certain business practices that goes on, what we do will become the status quo. And one thing that Alex said that stuck with me is that, like, this is a question that I've had on staff. This is a question that anybody I've talked to, like, will ask, and it's a great question. Um, Integrity. How do you handle, not making another company mad to the point where they don't want to give you a game to review, or things of that nature, or things like that? And quite honestly, you never know what can happen as far as like how other companies, like say a Sony or a Microsoft, will handle their ship. But if they're professional, they're going to give you that code. But more than that, to steal a quote from Alex, get so big
Yeah.
that they can't deny you,
Yeah.
right? And that is the thing. If this is this place that everybody is coming to get their news from, this is the place that everybody is coming to gather, they will have no choice, because who's going to get them the most eyes on the product? The publication with the most eyes.
Yeah.
And that is where it turns. And that is the biggest, that will be the biggest success that the business can have at that point, is if we become that. But my mentality is, if you are, if there is a problem and you're tired of it, there comes a point in time when it's time to stop talking about the problem and putting towards action to be part of the solution.
Yeah.
And like I said at the beginning, this was something that started off as a passion project for me. Now in 2023, the difference from 2013 is that this is something that is needed now. This is something that the space doesn't have. This is something that would give casual fans who are not on YouTube, who are not on Twitter, who don't really go on social media. There are a lot of them. But I was shocked when I seen a number, I think an article on a number, of just how many people were on social media versus people who aren't. It's nuts. Um, and this offers the validity that those publications has, while also offering the quality and integrity that we all deserve. And I think right now the industry is plagued with not being able to separate personal from business. And that is something that we will bring to you. It will be fun. It will be a fun adventure. It will be a fun ride. It will be something that we can all enjoy. Um, there will be things that I will feel pressurized for a lot. The pressure will be on from here on out. But that's something I look forward to because something I didn't think about in 2013 when I thought about this that you think about when you're older is that there's always going to be pressure. Um, Especially when you're opening up jobs because everybody below you, everybody that's employed under you are all depending on you to run the ship and keep running the ship the right way so that they can have a job because at the end of the day they have to go support their family members, they have to support their living and their livelihood, and so all of that is in my hands, and that is the most weight burden thing on my shoulders. So my name, like I said, my word is my value and my word is my bond. And that's pretty much where I'm coming from it as. We will listen to you. We will have things that are important to you. We will write articles specifically for you. The faces that you see every day, we will make sure that those faces continue to be here. Um, when you watch our product, you won't feel like you're constantly getting an education seminar. It will be a fun, lax video game and nerd culture experience where you can learn about the industry, you can learn about the latest news that's happening day to day, week to week. You can gain a better understanding of if you want to put money into a game. That is really what game reviews should be about, and that's what they are about for me. Even my own scores that we put out will legitimately be to better aid you in making a decision on if you want to purchase something or not. Right? Um, like I said, reviews are subjectives, and there's really never a right way to really do them, which is why I understand why Alex hates them.
Yeah.
Because it proves nothing. If life is subjective, there's people that are going to like it and people who are not. But if I can get somebody that much closer to understanding if they want to buy something or not, then that's a job
Well,
done for me.
and then look, I'm pretty controversial, and ultimately, people look for the scores. Like it's one of the number one thing. You click on the thing, you scroll
Yep.
down, you look at the score. I mean, I understand how it works. I understand the need that these sites need to have the score. What does IGN give it? What's the score?
Yes.
Nobody cares what they write about. It's what did they give it. So
Yes.
I do, and actually that's why it should be exterminated. But I do understand it. So just to make it kind of just to make it clear, I don't think it's not necessary for me. I'll never use it. There's no reason for me to use it. But you're in a different situation, so I get it. Is there
And there will
anything?
be context around it too.
We're at
You know,
about
like
40-45 minutes. Is there any final things you didn't get to, or you think you got it?
I think for the most part, I got everything that I can share at this moment. Um, and if there's any input, anything that you guys want that you recommend to me, um, definitely feel free to tweet me. Um, Join the Discord that Alex has for Podcast Now, and I'm there as well. Anything, any input, I'm open to everything. But this is something that, regardless of if I get $0 of funding or um, funding to lessen the amount that I ask banks for, or it's fully funded, regardless of what happens, this is something I'm going to continue to work for and bring to you no matter what. But the importance of me bringing up that LLC, the importance of me bringing up the date in which I started this plan was to ensure as much as I can because regardless, nothing that I say will bring validity to me. I am an unknown commodity. So all I can do is try to provide a little bit of information on how long I've been doing this, the steps that I've taken to get this done on my own, that way you can have a better understanding of how long I've been doing this for, how serious I've taken it, and what the measures are and what the measures are going forward.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you. I mean, you're right. I mean, you're not known. I trust you. Like, and I want to make people know that. Now, this is the long video. We're gonna have a much short, condensed one on the main channel. Just try to spread it out. So if you don't know Sway, or you don't know if you can trust him or not, but you do trust me for whatever reason, know that I'm with him. I like the idea. God, I've been hoping for like new alternatives. I don't want to go to IGN and GameSpot for news. I actually don't go on GameSpot, but like I've said it before, like I would use your site. Like I'd want nothing more than to go on a friend's site to look up news daily. What's the rumor? What's a mix of Insider Gaming, Tom Henderson, who's done a great job with that site. Video Games Chronicle does a pretty okay job. They don't really do that many articles. Push Square, Pure Xbox. I try to go on like for all these different consoles. If you can combine all those into just, it's not even all that difficult. I don't think it's probably just the funding of getting it all set up. I think a lot of people would flock to it. I think that immediately would make it kind of different. All the additional features, the reviews being different, now you have to be on YouTube and all the different social medias everybody else is. I think there's real potential to stay. I mean, it sounds scary. I'll be honest, looking at like an outlooker, like getting it off the ground sounds like quite the task that I would never want to do. And also, there is potential for failure. There's potential that people don't go on the site. But also, like you said, you got to, at some point, put your money where your mouth is. If you want to change, go for, I mean, what's the harm? I guess you take money from people. That would maybe be the harm. But you got to go for it. You got to, these alternatives have to start from somewhere, right? Yeah. Tom Henderson's site, Insider Gaming, which I go on every day, is not the most robust. It's very simplistic, but it does its job. And he had record traffic, like the first month he opened it up, he's doing fantastic. So these things, you talk about them, then you have to actually do them. But they can be successful, even if they're not all that over the top. Nobody's going to be able to make an IGN from, a modern day IGN from one person, starting it. So I'm with you. I'll be donating. Hopefully other people will check it out. And like Sway said, if you're not interested in donating or you don't have the money, that is totally cool. Very few people do have the money. Share it. Share the video. Like this video. Share the link to whichever funding site we have. Just share that and see what happens to. I mean, these things can can catch on to somewhere. So I wish you all the best. I hope it works. I think it should because I like the idea. And yeah. So any last things to say to the people at home?
Like, share, retweet. Everything that you possibly can. Thank you for always, like, even our avid watchers of this podcast. Thank you for coming in and just watching and hearing me out. If you stay for the entire video, I greatly appreciate you. And I look forward to seeing you on the next one.
Yeah, he'll still be here, and I guess we'll have to talk about it when the site kind of comes alive, what the plan would be, but should be okay.
There will be an update here.
Huh? Sure. Yeah. And Sway will be on other stuff. When you guys are seeing this video, we already did the Suicide Squad stream. I'm organizing a Jedi Survivor one that I'll try to get you on. So you'll be on stuff regardless. So let us know what you think in the comments. Share the heck out of anything you care to share the heck out of, and we'll see you all on the next one.